NACS is dead, with the recent news of Team Liquid's CS roster benching Elige and changing from NA to a majority EU lineup, causing a loss of a Legend and RMR spot for the region to 4 slots. With even Captain America's Nitro losing all hope and abandoning NACS, the best NA team for years has lost hope and the scene is in dire. How did NACS come to this point? Before I tell you, here's a word from my sponsor. Today's video partner is Keydrop, a site that has many cases you can open to win some sweet skins. Special events are always going on that offer a lot of bonuses. I'm going to be opening Poker's case, and I got a FAMAS roll cage, which I do not want. I will use the upgrade feature where you have a chance to get a better skin. Now, if you don't like any of the skins you get, use the skin changer mode to pick out a nicer skin, or use contracts to possibly upgrade as well. Keydrop has case battles where you can play against other players. Whoever has the best skins takes it all. Every day you can open a free case to win money. Keydrop offers a lot of different deposit and payment methods, plus you can withdraw skins instantly. Use code NART and get a free 50 cents and 10% deposit bonus. Link will be down below in the description. Let's start with Valorant. When Valorant came out, a lot of the lower tier 1 CSGO pros and lower tiers switched over because many orgs were getting involved in Valorant. A lot of these players were getting paychecks and jobs from esports, and orgs were leaving CS even prior to Valorant. That affected NACS because the tier 1 teams didn't have anyone to pick up from for the roster changes, and having to go international, the younger players and prospects like Tens, Ye, and Asuna, and many others were the up-and-comers and talent. Besides talent, Valorant has also taken all of the veteran players who'd mentored up-and-coming players. NA semi-pro player Polo speaks about these issues here.
When Valorant came out, it took all the older experienced players who weren't individually good enough to compete anymore and brought them to Valorant because, ooh, cool, fresh game, awesome. And it took all the really good young players who haven't made a name for themselves yet, but were still really good and could be really good, took them to Valorant because, oh wow, new cool game, awesome. So it took all the people who had the potential to raise really good talent because they were experienced, and all the people who were inexperienced who had the potential to be raised and be really good talent. And it took both those pieces of the NA scene and sent them to Valorant. Because neither of those demographics were getting enough money to play the game. Because one of them was really good, but like not there yet, and one of them was really good, but like had already been there, right? If that makes any sense. So it took both of those demographics and gave them a salary in Valorant. So all that was left was either the people who were currently good and like stable enough in their team to stay, and that's it. And then the bottom and the top of that, as far as experience goes, the bottom half and the top half of the people who were good enough to stay in the pro scene were taken away, pretty much. The people who had done it and the people who hadn't done it yet were taken away. So there's no structure anymore. There wasn't enough people to learn from. Is pretty much how I'd put it. There isn't enough people to learn from. But yeah, that's what I'd put it on, Nart. It's a mix of the money thing and a mix of that as well, because Valorant truly killed NA.
With limited orgs investing in NACS, it's very tough to grow the scene here. Orgs are not going to want to sign a team because there's no opportunities, especially over the past years where tournaments have been very limited in NA. Another key factor was the ESL Pro League changes in Season 13 with partnered teams and going away from Regional Pro League. This took away many opportunities for teams and orgs. From the business point of view, sponsors and orgs are not getting as much exposure here anymore and begin to question as to why they're in CSGO, which makes it difficult to keep a roster, especially with how inflated NA salaries have been in the past. Another main problem with NACS is often you hear about the practice in NA being super bad. You're always playing against the same teams and you have to go to EU to get real practice, which we see Liquid and EG spending most of their time there. Besides practice, we have to look at NA's mentality and work ethic, which are not the best. This is always brought up when people talk about NACS. People here have a lot of ego, poor mindset as said here from Stanislaus Twitlonger. I also asked Vanity about this, and to put it in a PG format for YouTube, he said that these people need to start caring and stop being cats. You are never going to get anywhere if you are only putting in half the work in. I can't be away from home. Yeah bro, it sucks. I agree. But if you actually care, then you'll deal with it.
with age. No, I've thought this way since I've started playing CS. I think it's why I always got along with like the Brazilians and like the foreigners that would come to NA so much. Is because they like needed to succeed. Like they actually cared. I think that's why I always got along so well with them. I didn't realize it until very recently. But it's because they care a lot. I think that's why I like them.
There is way more issues and factors when it comes to the downfall of NACS, but due to time constraints, let's move on to saving NACS, which Joka Steve, Team Liquid's general manager, had this to say.
We tried our best. I think that more than any other team, behind the scenes, we were working with ESL, Blast, team owners, streamers, anyone you could think of to make NA a place that was more sustainable in multiple ways. And ultimately, collectively, we failed. And I hope that this is sort of a wake-up call to the region that, you know, we need to build NA, we need NA. And I am willing to say that I'm not giving up on NA, personally. I'm gonna be in those NA calls, NA meetings, trying to make sure that our region stays alive and that there's a place for aspiring NA players to have a career and have a dream of playing on TL still.
NA's Last Hope Cooper responds saying, "I'm sure I'm not the only one who is curious what has been done behind the scenes involving the top NA orgs and tournament organizers in regards to NA. Would love some insight and clarification on this." To save NACS, there are a couple of points I thought about. Number 1, give NA more qualifier spots in tournaments or more invites. Other regions will definitely get upset about this, but this is going to help grow the region, the NACS region, to allow these players more experience and give the NA viewers more teams to support, as well as it's going to help with the viewership here in NA. Next up is having more tournaments in NA. That will definitely help with the bad practice situation when all the best teams in the world are here for tournaments. Yanko speaks about it in Talking Counter.
We need to have one season of Pro League there. You know, like the full season with teams coming and going, that would help. I think once CS2 starts, like the next season should be there if contractual obligations allow it. I think having 5 weeks of different tier 1 teams being in North America and giving those smaller tier teams at least, like, you know, some practice, maybe you figure out a way to organize something additional, like a sort of a showcase tournament, I don't know, where, you know, a couple of top 2, top 3, 4 teams from some of those like cash cups, with whatever, you know, they get to play in a tournament against the teams that got eliminated from the group, you know, in Pro League, for example, right? So you give a couple of extra games for the teams that lost in the groups, and you give some experience for the teams that are situated in NA. And I think that with what's already in place, I think it's a good start, if anything.
On the topic of Pro League, what if we made ESL Pro League an actual league again with separate regions, which would give orgs consistent stream time in a top tier event so that they can go to sponsors and show off their viewership numbers. The last point is about Counterstrike 2. I'm hoping that it builds up a lot of hype and is able to draw in a bunch of new players or even bring back former ones so that the talent can be built up again, as well as hoping that CS2 can bring more opportunities for orgs to invest in. Now, how would you save NACS? Let me know down below and subscribe for more Counter-Strike content.